मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome all the participants of International Vegetarian Union, Asian Vegetarian Union and Malaysian Vegetarian Society gathered in Putra World Trade Center, Kuala Lumpur. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. And I welcome all the important personalities gathered in the conference. Chairman of the International Vegetarian Union, Marley Winkler, President of Asian Vegetarian Union, Professor Boli, Chairman of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Dr. P. Vaidyalingam, Secretary of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Mr. Krishna, Treasurer of Malaysian Vegetarian Society, Mr. Rajkumar, Master Limbun Tiom from Federation of Ikuan Tao Association Malaysia, Datto Vaidyalingam, social activist, and all other delegates from all over the world, and our devotees, disciples who are sitting with us for the Nitya Satsang. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. Happy to be with you all on 41st International Vegetarian Union World Veg Fest and 6th Asian Vegetarian Congress at Kuala Lumpur, celebrating 108th year of the Vegetarian Union. I'll try to present few facts and truths in front of you. Today's subject is awakening the potential bioenergy, your Kundalini energy. In Sanskrit, we have the word Kundalini. The equivalent English word can be awakening the inner potential energy, potential bioenergy. Through the diet, awakening your potential energy. We need to look into few truths. Please understand, I am not going to speak about all the benefits of vegetarian lifestyle because all of you know enough, and I can give tons and tons of material. The solid researches done by great universities, published in many medical journals. But now I am going to address a very important need for the human beings for their physical, psychological, social fulfillment. Awakening their potential energy, the inner potential energy, potential bioenergy. When this energy is awakened, the possibilities open up for you, and how this can be awakened through the vegetarian diet, sattvic diet. All of us know the health benefits of vegetarian food. I am not going to get into that now. I am really going to look into what is inner potential energy, bio energy. The first important fact I wanted to present to all of you, you have more possibility than you are. This is the beginning of life. This truth, you have more possibility than you are, is the beginning of life in any philosophy, any way of living, any way of thinking, any way of living, any system of thinking, or any religious thinking tradition. You have more possibility than what you are now. That more possibility is what we call bioenergy, inner potential energy. In Sanskrit, we have the word Kundalini. You can see in your own life when your power of feeling, your power of emotions expressed along with your power of words and power of thinking, the energy you express will be totally different. I'll give you this example. When you utter some words, if your feeling is not associated with it, you know very clearly what kind of impact you create through that word inside you and outside you. Even while you are thinking, if your feeling is not associated with it, what kind of impact the thinking does inside you and outside you. Feeling infuses energy into your thinking and words. There is something in you infuses energy into your feeling. That is what we call Kundalini, bioenergy, biomemory, inner potential energy. All these different words are used, but it explains, expresses this one concept. The power which resides in you and gives power to your feeling. All of you can understand how your power gives life to you. You all know, if your feeling is associated with certain word, how that word becomes alive for you. If your feeling is associated with your thinking, how that thinking becomes alive for you. But unfortunately, we do not know how our feeling gets empowered. The energy which empowers your feeling is inner potential energy, the bioenergy. Now, I wanted you to understand how the various diets impact that inner potential energy. First truth I wanted to present in front of all of you: you become what you eat. Anything you eat, that becomes you. One part of what you eat becomes your bone, muscle, flesh, blood. One part of what you eat becomes your words. One part of what you eat becomes your thinking. One part of what you eat becomes your feeling. One part of what you eat becomes your being. So the first truth I presented is about what is inner potential energy, Kundalini Shakti. What is bioenergy or biomemory? Second truth I am presenting in front of all of you. A very important truth. You become what you eat. Now, with these two understanding, look at your life. What you are eating, how it is impacting your thinking, feeling, words, and finally actions. Last but not the least, you need to understand there is no such thing as inanimate in the universe. Whether it is human being or a stone in the street, the variation is only degree of life, not the existence of life. Please understand. The variation is only the degree of life, not the existence of life. Whether it is a human body or the stone in the street, only the degree of life. So, we need to understand when we kill an animal for our food and consume that as a food, what all the effects happening to our inner potential energy. And if we eat vegetarian sattvic diet, the word sattvic means pure. I'll define that word later. If we eat the pure diet, what happens to our inner potential energy? First, I'll try to explain the power, how the non-vegetarian food, the body of any animal, what happens when it was killed, and what happens when you eat that flesh. Please listen. Our flesh has a capacity to store the memory. All our memories are stored, recorded in our flesh. You can call it as different names. You can call it as a muscle, bone marrow, bone, different names you can give, but it is stored in our body. In that you can give a deeper inner names, brain, heart, liver, kidney, different names of the organs. But the ultimate truth I wanted to present all of you, memories get stored in our flesh, in our body. That is why certain memories, when they are rekindled in you, certain organs in your body gets immediately affected. I can give the example. If you become upset, start feeling depressed, immediately your stomach will be attacked. You will have stomach upset because the depression attacks the navel center, In Sanskrit, we have a word, Manipuraka Chakra, the energy center situated in the navel. So each emotion, each memory heals or kills, makes or breaks certain part of your body. Your emotions and your body is very closely connected because your memories are recorded in your body. When an animal is killed, the animal is not going to be blessing all of us and the world when it is dying. Naturally, it is going to express so much of hatred, fear, anger, unfulfilled desire for life, a deep incompletion. When it is dying, it is going to release such powerful incompletion into its muscle memory, into its biomemory, into its body. Please understand, it carries a subtle but very powerful poisonous toxins, because every time you are affected, you are attacked by the emotions like fear, anger, anxiety, powerlessness, incompletion. You know the amount of adrenaline happens in your life, amount of the toxic chemicals spreads in your body when you are raging with anger. You know what happens to your system. When you are agitated, you know what happens to your system. Please understand, the same thing exactly happens to the animal which is getting killed for various reasons. So the animal is not going to die in the space of completion, blessing all of us and the whole world. No. It is going to die, leaving so much of incompletion into its body. Please understand, when you eat that body, what are you eating? Poisonous, toxic chemicals, the flesh filled with so much of negative ideas, flesh filled with so much of negative memories, so much of incompletions. So the basic truth, when you eat food filled with so much of incomplete biomemory, incomplete bioenergy, the incomplete memories, what is going to happen to our muscle memory and biomemory, to our body? Please understand, your muscle memory or biomemory is going to be created only out of what you eat. The subtlest part of your food becomes your muscle memory. Subtlest part of your food becomes your biomemory. If the subtlest part of your food is associated with so much of fear, anxiety, unfulfilled desire for life, and incompletion, then what kind of biomemory, muscle memory it is going to create in your body, you have to decide. You can visualize. Sometimes people ask me, then how come people who eat non-vegetarian seems to be leading a so-called normal life? Who said? Who said they are eating normal life? Please understand. Look at the depression ratio. Look at the people suffering with the depression and the countries suffering with highest crime rates. You can directly connect the both to their diet. There are tons and tons of research papers available in the internet. You can study. Tons and tons of social surveys available in the net. You can study. You need to understand, see the non-vegetarian food-based society and vegetarian food-based society, see the crime rate and their depression. Then you will understand the question itself is wrong. Please understand, vegetarian, all the surveys prove vegetarians are happier than meat eaters, and all the surveys prove vegetarians are more non-violent in their thinking and feeling and in their actions than meat eaters. Study in Nutrition Journal finds vegetarians have lower incidence of depression, anxiety and other mood problems than their meat eating neighbors. So you need to know, you become what you eat. In Sanskrit we have a beautiful verse by one of the great saint, a sage, Adi Shankara. Purifying your food purifies your memory. When your memory is purified, your consciousness is purified. When the consciousness is purified, all the blessings of life is showered on you. Please listen. You become what you eat. Based on what you eat, your body is created. Your biomemory is created. Your bioenergy is created. So if you add continuously food filled with incompletion, fear, depression, anxiety, then what are you going to experience constantly inside you? Only that. So when you see a non-veg food in your plate, be very clear. You are taking plate full of depression, plate full of fear, plate full of anxiety, plate full of chemicals and toxins released during the fear when the animal is being terrorized, and plate full of incompletions. Look with this understanding and then decide, should you eat this or not? Second line, I wanted to go to the next truth, next idea I wanted to present in front of all of you. The pure food. How the vegetarian food is going to help you to awaken your biomemory. People ask me, how can you say vegetarian food is good? How can you say the vegetarian food is right? I face hundreds of questions all over the world about this food, because food and our emotions are very closely associated. That is why all over the world, in all cultures, whenever you want to show somebody, tell somebody you love them, you share food with them. Sharing food is a very important show of love among the human beings. I can say even among the animals. Even among the animals, they share food only when they feel the friendliness, when they wanted to show the friendliness. I'll talk about this purity of food and how it directly awakens your biomemory and bioenergy and ultimately the Kundalini Shakti, the inner potential energy. First thing you need to know, your body is naturally designed for vegetarian food. Your body is naturally designed for vegetarian food, and the inner mechanisms like your feeling, thinking, words, everything is designed to function with vegetarian food. It is like you have a generator which can handle only 220 volt current, or you have a UPS which can handle only 220 volt current, but you give 20,000 volt current, what will happen? It will get fused. Same way, if the system is designed by the nature for vegetarian food and you go on dumping non-vegetarian food into it due to ignorance, we have to face the result. Many people present the arguments, no, in the ancient times human beings were non-vegetarian. No, they were fruit eaters. They were vegetarians, leaf eaters, fruit eaters. Only when they started killing the animals to save themselves, to protect themselves, they started thinking, disposing them is a very difficult job. Eating them may be a better way of disposal. That is the way first human beings started making their stomach as graveyard for animals. Understand, originally we are not designed for meat eating. Basically our body is designed for vegetarianism. People ask me, how can you say that? I can give you hundreds of reasons. Look at the jaw movements. There is no vegetarian animal which has a side jaw movement. Please listen. Sorry, I wanted to correct the statement. All non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement of the jaws, no side movements. All vegetarian animals only will have the side jaw movements. So human beings naturally have the side movements of the jaw, the horizontal movements of the jaws. It means we are designed for vegetarian food. Unfortunately, we have the freedom to do anything we want and we misused and abused the freedom. Vegetarian animals are better because they do not have the freedom. It's good in a way. Sometimes if you don't have a freedom to abuse your body, you can see all the animals The vegetarian animals, they will have vertical and horizontal, both movements of the jaw. But all non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement of the jaw. Sorry. All the non-vegetarian animals will have only the vertical movement. Vegetarian animals will have vertical and horizontal, both movements. And next point I wanted to present to all of you is the length of our intestine, the intestinal tract length. And our bowels, the way they are designed, it is for vegetarianism, because the length is more than 10 or 12 times of the body length. The alkaline saliva to predigest plant foods, the bowels with pockets for optimal nutrition absorption. All this, our teeth structure with flat molars, all are very clear indications nature has designed our body to be vegetarians. We are born to be vegetarians. I tell you, if the majority population of the country decides, of a society decides, of a humanity decides to live with vegetarian food, the agitation human beings experience, the depression human beings experience, the fear human beings experience will drastically drop, and that will really help the peace and joy, prosperity of humanity. Let me come back to the subject of awakening your bioenergy, Kundalini energy, through the proper diet, pure diet. The food, if it is consumed without fear, anxiety, depression, biomemories, like non-vegetarian food, please understand, the food without anxiety, fear, depression, biomemories, if they are consumed the energy with which you think, the energy with which you utter words, the energy with which you act, energy with which you feel, everything will be aligned to the natural source of energy. It will be aligned to your nature, which is your inner potential energy. Unfortunately, the food with fear, depression, anxiety, biomemory, because of its popularity and availability, became a mainstream lifestyle. I can say this is one of the greatest calamity happened to humanity. The non-vegetarian lifestyle is one of the greatest calamity happened to humanity. Because when you eat the pure food, let me define purity. The food In Sanskrit, we have three words: jati dosha, nimitta dosha, asraya dosha. Means a food getting impure by its nature, by its muscle memory, and by the persons handling it. Please understand. First, by its nature. If it is obtained by stealing or killing or depriving somebody, it is impure food. Because if it is stolen food, even while you eat, you will have the anxiety to quickly grab it, finish it off, before it gets snatched away from your hands. By the nature, if it is stolen, robbed, after killing, it is impure. In the first level itself, I can say non-vegetarian food is impure because we steal the flesh of an animal. We steal it after killing it. So it is murder and robbing. Second, nimitta dosha. The way the food comes to you, when it comes to you, the non-vegetarian food comes with so much of anger, fear, depression, biomemories filled in it. So again, it can never be near anywhere to the pure food. Third, ashraya dosha, the people who handle it, touch it. Surely a non-vegetarian food is going to be touched by the people who kill the animal. The person who kills the animal is going to handle and make the food for you. Anything which is touched by a murderer is going to carry that energy, that aura, that biomemory in it. So he adds little more poison as his contribution. Then understand the impurity, the amount of impurity the non-vegetarian food carries. In turn, the vegetarian food, let us look at the vegetarian food, which is natural part of your whole bioenergy. And I tell you from my experience with myself and my millions of followers and disciples all over the world, your mood swings, the way you decide things in your life, the way you feel about you, the way you feel about the world, everything changes when your diet becomes vegetarian. Because with the vegetarian diet, the thinking becomes more subtle and settled. The agitation, aggression disappears. I've seen in my life, in my travels all over the world, meeting different cultures, civilization, people. From that I can see very clearly, and I can tell you from my experience, people who live as vegetarians, their bioenergy is very high. Their biomemory is very high. I can give you various deeper understandings about it. Constantly the emotions you cherish becomes source of your bioenergy. Whatever is source of your bioenergy impacts your thinking. Please understand, it's like a vicious circle. It's like one feeds the other. If you are constantly agitated, having depression, that becomes your bioenergy. If depression and agitation becomes your bioenergy, naturally you tend to think towards more depression and more agitation. So what you think becomes your bioenergy. What is your bioenergy forms the basis for your thinking. With this understanding, you can decide on your own whether vegetarian food leads you to more agitation, depression, or non-vegetarian food leads you to more agitation and depression. You can test on your own body. I tell you, testing it on yourself will be the best way to realize the power of vegetarian food. Testing it on your own is the best way to realize the power of pure food in your life. Never ever eat anything which can feel the emotions in your frequency. Please understand, plants do not feel the suffering or pain or emotions in your level of frequency, because the degree of life in them is different, and your body is also naturally designed for eating vegetables, fruits, and the vegetarian diet. So you are going with your natural flow. I can tell you, just the right food, the pure food, which is pure by its nature, by right persons handling it, and right way it is brought to you. This pure food alone is enough to kindle, awaken the natural energy you are carrying, what I call Kundalini Shakti or inner potential energy or your bioenergy. In India, we have a unique tradition. All human beings who are seeking the higher life is expected to live vegetarian lifestyle, but specifically in particular months of a year, everyone is asked to be vegetarian. It is very surprising. Those few months exactly, the whole country crime rate goes lower than the level it is in other months. And when you take the vegetarian food, you also awaken your biomemory to be directly producing the food and energy from the space directly, just like plants and trees. See, plants and trees carries a quality or intelligence. They produce their energy directly from the sun and ether, from air. They directly produce life energy from the sun, air, and earth and water. When you are regularly eating only vegetarian food consciously, your biomemory, your bioenergy also can awaken the same quality. Please understand, if you can take a little support from the conscious source like meditation or little yoga, you can see very clearly that possibility in your biomemory is awakened. I have seen in my own life hundreds of yogis, my followers, disciples, start living without even having regular eating habit. They eat once in a while. When I say once in a while, maybe once in a week. There are some who eat only once in a month. That also they take just little juice or little water. With that they are able to live. It is possible if you eat vegetarian food and awaken the same biomemory, awaken the same bioenergy which plants carry. And many of them, through this lifestyle, have overcome blood pressure, cholesterol, so many health benefits. See, ultimately, you cannot convince somebody about the benefits of swimming till he jumps into the water. Ultimately, I cannot convince you about the right effects of eating vegetarian food just by my words. You have to start eating and living. That will help you to understand. I will present just few of the surveys and scientific studies we have done. In my various researches and my journey of teaching people, educating people, we have a program helping people to go beyond the need for food, awakening their biomemory and bioenergy. We call it Nirahara Samyama in Sanskrit. Living beyond food, breaking your food patterns, which is active visualization meditations, breathing process to awaken your consciousness. Through this method, which I have initiated thousands worldwide, we have proved scientifically that without food, in the beginning we request them to have vegetarian diet, then after that we reduce even that very systematically. In this research we have seen very stable weight loss, and in 90% of the people the cholesterol drastically reduces to the healthy level. Increase in vitamin B1 and B2 and B12 levels in 92% of the participants. Increase in vitamin D in 100% participants. 70% gain in hemoglobin level, 85% decrease in urea level. Please understand, whatever I am speaking is the data from the scientific study and the survey we have conducted. These medical miracles like recovery from serious life-threatening illnesses like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high cholesterol, chronic fatigue, low thyroid and depression. All this is recorded medically. When you start practicing this vegetarian lifestyle and moving to the next step, going even beyond food. Now I will not talk much about this going beyond food. I'll stop myself, I'll restrict myself to this vegetarian diet. With the vegetarian diet, not only you don't get the wrong biomemories like a fear, depression, anxiety, which you get from meat eating. You get the right biomemories through vegetarian diet. The right biomemories you get from the vegetarian diet is the ability to produce energy directly from the space and air, just through the water. I really sincerely request all of you to experiment with this vegetarian lifestyle. Starting today, just for a few months, try for next 3 months, eat only vegetarian food and see the difference in the way you will feel with your life, the way you feel about you, the way you think about you, the way the words come out of you and the words you utter towards you. Everything will change drastically. The difference in your physical health, in your mental health, your relationships, and even in your wealth and career. You need to know. You need to understand. The life surely becomes much, much better, especially the way you feel about you becomes totally different with vegetarian lifestyle. I also wanted to explain these few words for your deeper understanding. Muscle memory means your day-to-day routine patterns, like morning you wake up, you take bath, you eat. Second, biomemory means your pattern of thinking and feeling, your mood swings, how you respond when you face a conflict in the life, how you react for a contradiction, how you react for a difficult situations. That is your biomemory. I tell you, if you understand this truth, you become what you eat. What you eat becomes you. You can see very clearly how the non-vegetarian food, the meat, comes with so much of depression, anxiety, anger, mood swing, which is going to become simply part of your biomemory and muscle memory. How the vegetarian food comes to you with higher intelligences like producing energy directly from ether, air and space and going to become part of you. You can see experientially by living it. People ask me sometimes many questions. Swamiji, if we eat meat, Are we passing the biomemories of pain and fear to our future children also? Yes. You are passing it to your whole generation, because the meat continuously eating, it is going to become part of your biomemory. The anxiety, fear, suffering, torture, which the animal experienced while it was killed, will become part of your biomemory, will become part of you, and that biomemory, that bioenergy, which will become part of you, will naturally be transferred. The pain and the fear and the anxiety and insecurity, the subtle grooves which develops in your brain through the vegetarian food, will give you really the power to think without getting tired, power to feel without getting tired, the power to utter right words at right time in right space. So, the essence of this 1 hour presentation in front of all of you is vegetarian food by its nature, the way it comes to you, the way you consume it, awakens your bioenergy, biointelligence, biomemory, and keeps your muscle memory pure, keeps you more healthy, more alive, more inspired, more intelligent, more excited, more living. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share, and explode in eternal bliss. Nityananda.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nityananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.